Hello, on this video I'm going to talk about the private attributes and also the @, property, and setters and getters. So this is the code that I have from the last video. Here on the right I have a very simple class, and it's a class that has one class attribute, the constructor with one instance attribute, and then just a simple method to print the information from this class, which is the color and the car type. And here I have a main program where I just instantiate two objects, and then I just call the print car function. So if I run this program, all I have is the color of the car and then the sports, which is the car type, which is a class attributes. So when I print the attributes through this method here, I know that this method can access both attributes, no problem. But the problem comes when I want to access the attributes through the objects. So for example, if I want to print the color and the car type, I would print like that. So let me run this program. So line 13 prints aqua, and then line 14 prints sports. But what if, for whatever reason, I do not want the main program to access the variables like that? So if that's the case, you can make these two attributes private. To make private, I just need to put two underscores here, and now car type becomes a private. If I run this code right now, this is going to fail because this function here also needs to change. And I need to put the two underscores right here before the car type. However, if I try to print it from here, it's going to fail. So it fails because it doesn't find the car type. Now, even if you try to put the two underscores right here before the car type, this is still not going to work. The two underscores make this class attribute private. And if it's private, only the code inside the class can access this attribute. Any code outside the class cannot access the attribute. Now, I'm going to comment this out so there's no error. And let's do the same thing with the color. So if I run this program right now, color works just fine. But now I'm going to make the color a private attribute. So I'm going to put two underscores here. And then I need to change here as well. And I put two underscores here. So now that means the color is now a private instance attribute. That means only this class can access this instance. So if I try to do it through here, this is not going to work. So run, fail, and even if I try to put the two underscores here, it will still fail. So this is a way to make this thing private. So one mistake here is that if I try to set a value of color and I set this to bad color, and then this code is going to work. However, when you do this, you are not changing this color right here. What are you doing? You're creating a new variable for this object. Even if I print this information again using the class method, you're going to see that the color is unchanged. The color of the instance, that is. And again, that's because when you did this, you created a new variable instead of using the private variable from the class. So this here is a very bad behavior. What if I want to change this variable here specific? So for that, we're going to create a getter and setter. That means I'm going to create a method right here, and I'm going to make that method do the update for me. So I'm going to create the getters and setters. This function here, it just returns the self.color, which means it returns the instance variable. And then the other one is a setColor, which receives a color as a parameter, and then it sets the instance variable with the value. Now, you can do exactly the same thing for the class variable. It works exactly the same way. So in order for me now to change the value of the instance variable, all I need to do is call one of these methods right here. So I'm going to call it now. So I'm going to change the color of car A. So here I'm changing the color of the car A only, and then I'm going to print both cars just to make sure that just one car actually changed the color. So these two lines here is to print the original color. Then after I made the color, only car A got the color changed to yellow, and car B kept its blue color. And now if I want to get the color, I use the getter method. So instead of printing the whole car, I can just call the function that returns the color. And then if I run this code, line 16 now prints yellow. So this is one way for you to get and set a variable that's private. Now another way that I find a little bit more elegant is to use the at property and also at setter. So I'm going to write two functions here using the property, the at property. These two functions right here, and note that I put the at property here, and here I put the at color setter. So this command here makes this function into a property. Now the difference between a function and a property is that a function you need to call with the parentheses. So here I'm calling with the parentheses, and here I'm calling with the parentheses. These two lines of code here are calling these two functions right here. Now I want to use this code now. This is now a property. So in order for me to use the property, I'm going to first set the color. So in order for me to set the color, instead of using the setColor function, I'm going to use the color property. So this is going to be a car A dot color equals pink. So line 14 does exactly the same thing as line 17 is now doing. And this line 17 is calling the line 28 of the class. And then to get the color, I'm going to call the line 26. So print and then car.color. So this is using the property and the setter, and this is using the function getters and setters. So function and property. I find this way here a little bit more elegant. All right, so let's run this code. So this line here, 10 and 11, prints this information here. Then line 15 prints the yellow. And then finally line 18 prints the pink. All right, so that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.